Welcome to Zentangle Project Pack number 13. This is day 6. My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and I'm going to guide you through a fun little tile on a phi gray tile. And we're using these tools here and some water, a Kleenex or a paper towel just to clean your brush with.
When you spill the water.
When you spill the water, and a scrap piece of paper and the brush. So we're going to start out by cleaning our brush off and twirling the brush on the paper towel so that we get a nice point, so that when we're ready to paint, we're going to actually draw these stripes on with our brush.
And you see how she's like twirling that.
So we're going to take our Sketch and Wash pencil, and we're going to put a bunch of it on a scrap paper.
And I think we did this on another one,
right.
And this was just re-showing it. So if you're starting with this one, and you can use if you can follow along even if you don't have all of these materials.
Yeah, just ad lib as you go.
Yeah.
So we're going to make our ink and add some water, and we want it pretty watery.
It's really soft, and it gets really dissolves into the water really quickly. So this is all about transitions. So we're going to be transitioning and layering and moving from one thing to another.
So we're going to draw these stripes on and create a background, almost like marbled paper. And not to worry about the inks being different colors on different stripes. That's what's going to add to the magnificence of this. You know, it's going to add a depth that you just can't imagine, a texture.
So I've got a little bit of aura-ing here.
Yeah, aura-ing, almost like diva dance or what's that, a static?
Right, because she's like changing the width as she goes.
Right, and I'm drawing with the brush. So we're going to put a few down and take your time or not, whatever feels right with you. See, it doesn't matter if there's goopy-doos there. It's a technical term.
Goopy-doos.
Yeah.
And also, you see, she's just sort of holding the tile up and moving it this way and that.
I hold the tile between my thumb and forefinger so that I can pick it up easily to turn it. I do that almost all the time, rather than try to pick it up with my fingernails each time or try to move it without picking it up.
And I think part of that is because you work on a surface that's not glossy. So
right,
you
right.
have that like velvet.
Okay, so we did half the tile. Now we're going to go in another direction just to be fun and add a little unexpected pattern to it. Don't forget, most of this will be covered, and you'll just see snippets of it here and there,
right.
As a background.
So
it's really quite beautiful.
So think of this as like this is like a playful exploration and seeing where you go. And in some ways, it's like it's going to disappear in the sense that it will be like a background, like a supporting role.
Right. Well, you'll see it, but you won't see it. You'll just notice that it's not just plain white or
gray.
Plain gray or whatever.
Sort of like doing something on a wood grain, and you can still see the wood grain coming through.
So yours is going to look different from mine because it's almost impossible to do it exactly like I did it, but it doesn't matter, just as long as you have a background, a texture on the background. So you have to wait for this to dry. You can put a hairdryer to it, but it takes maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Depending on humidity and everything.
So now I'm going to take my 01 black micron, and I'm going to start with Mucha, which is my favorite tangle, with one right up the middle, a good size. And we're going to do like a spray of muchas, right?
Like a fountain of muchas.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be like you have a murder of crows or a
right.
pride of lions.
A fountain of
A
muchas.
fountain of muchas.
I'll have to think about that.
Okay. And this is definitely one of Maria's favorite tangles, her go-to. And I think everybody has a go-to tangle, and we were talking about that this morning at breakfast.
So when I'm doing like a spray of them or a fountain of them, I like to put my ones that have escaped pretty early on so that I'll have to draw behind them. So I'm doing some kind of funky ones here that will go go in front of the other ones.
Right.
But you have to pre-think those.
Or you just let them explode and spurt out in different ways, and then just draw whatever else behind.
So notice that on this particular one, I'm going to start way at the top. I only need to do the top of that one and then come down. It's an easy way to have them right next to each other, right up close.
Yeah, because
And watch this again. Yeah.
they share a line with each
Yeah,
the adjacent one.
So I start right up there, and I just go up and do the loop. I saw this on a manuscript, and it took me a while to figure out how they had done it. They were sharing the stem.
Mm-hmm.
And it made perfect sense to me after that. And you'll find that it's almost easier to do it that way.
So we should also mention that just in case you're coming into this video as the first one of this project pack, that to please check out the intro that Molly and Julie did, because it'll set you up with all of these cool tools.
It's always fun, too, to watch the video from start to finish and then go back and watch it again when you follow along.
Right.
You can
I
see
like
now,
this. This is fun.
Look at this, and I'm putting one behind. So see the difference between one in the front and one behind. That's what you can do with this array of muchas like this. You can play with it.
Weave it in.
Weave it in. I guess it's sort of woven in. This one's going to go sneaking somewhere in the other direction.
Very fun. And so this is all about, again, aura. It's one of the reasons we teach Crescent Moon first, because it sets up that principle of auraing the shape next to it, and we just keep using that so much.
So I'm getting ready to start morphing my tangles from one to the other. We're starting with mucha, then we're going to go into a few other different tangles.
Right, because
Yeah.
this is all about transitions, and there's so many tangles that share
DNA.
yeah, like they share some sort of DNA, and you can really link them together in a really fun way, and it's sort of a playful challenge too.
I'm hoping that this is going to get everybody to love mucha. Showing you in different, pretty. I'm going as slow as I can. This is really slow for me.
But it's that lovely shape of where it makes that like a
But look at those stripes behind the stems. You're seeing those subtle brush strokes. How beautiful they look, right? How cool is that?
Well, this is really timely because in the next few weeks we should start seeing some fiddleheads coming out.
Right.
This is very reminiscent of that. So many of our tangles are inspired by or just end up looking like natural shapes, things in nature, because I think the way tangles grow, they just grow in a natural way. And I like how Maria pauses and sort of takes feedback from where where her last stroke has left off, and then, okay, well, what does the tile want? It's pretty cool.
Very cool. So now I'm going to go into the ends there and kind of make them into well, not a curly cue, but it goes into itself. So watch this again.
Right. It turns from a solid shape into
You're just putting like a little...
like a 6.
Like a little mucha, like a 6
Yeah.
in there. Let's do a 6.
Oh, but actually, yeah, it's like fractal. It's like a
Yeah.
mucha within a mucha, and it turns it into something else.
Yeah.
I love that.
How fun is that?
Yeah, I like that even better.
So what this is it's the beginning of sprinkle. This is another tangle that kind of grows organically too, and but then it starts wearing little hats, these beautiful little Where's Waldo hats,
Well, I actually always thought of it as like it's looping on itself, like
like
from
a spring.
well, no, like from the Dairy Queen. Like
Oh
right,
yeah,
right.
I used to
Soft serve.
work in a Dairy Queen. I was the queen of the Dairy Queen. I could do 4 cones in one hand.
Right.
I was the queen.
I think this
yeah.
is a Dairy Queen
That's what it looks like.
revisit.
Yeah, those nightmares of ice cream cones.
And cleaning up afterwards.
Oh yeah,
So some of these cones are a little
those are the extra large cones.
right.
They were measured by those blobs. Like a small cone had 1 blob,
Okay.
a medium had 2, and the big ones had more.
And then you put sprinkles on them.
Sometimes.
So you can always add a mucha
Or a sprinkle.
or a sprinkle. They just
So
go right
and
in
then there's
there.
the little 6. And it looks like there's just one big looping clump of ice cream coming out, right?
Yeah. It's sort of like an ice cream cone in a gravity-free environment here.
Right. So here we are. We're making the muchas into sprinkles. So you can see it's a gradual concept. It's a gradual thing. Transition. Adding another one here. I'm really getting into it.
Well, I think you're looking at like, okay, just because adding the sprinkle tops changes the balance
Right.
to you. And that's one of the things we're doing a transition here
There's
again.
the transition right now. So we're going into that real Where's Waldo look, where the hat has the different colored stripes between it, the black and white.
So this edition is going to take us into bunzo, which are
Right.
these alternating curved bands of ink and no ink. Get a little drama in here,
How fun is that, right?
right?
I love the unexpectedness of the transition from one to another.
And you can really appreciate the interplay with with how it's playing with the background.
So you can see me sneaking in just a little bit, just to see, to make the transition more subtle.
I have to go back to the ice cream cone. It's like the vanilla
Oh,
and
the
chocolate.
vanilla and chocolate swirls.
At the same
yeah,
time.
yeah. So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to start my bunzo and start putting him behind the sprinkles.
So they're just coming down from the top here.
Yeah.
And a lot of these tangles, if you go to our website, zentangle.com, and go to the newsletter and just search on the tangle names, all of them aren't there, but a lot of them are. And I think
Yeah.
bunzo is there. And of course, it's on the app.
So it's a series of overlapping crescents, and you can guide it in the directions you want by just where you start it and where you end it. You can see here I'm not making the black ones as big as the other ones because they can get a little overwhelming. So the balance of the larger crescents with the smaller black almost seems like it's equaling out.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're working on a gray paper, so I don't want the tile to be too dark.
Right. Right, because we already have that patterning in the back on a gray
Right,
tile as
right.
well.
And take your time. Rick has got me magically doing these very quickly, but this is a take your time.
Right. Well, I'm impressed at how slow you're actually going here.
Right, I am too. I'm very impressed because it was one of my
Right.
things that I wanted to make sure of because I know I go too quickly.
But, it's also you finding your speed. So whatever, these are seeds of ideas, but when you plant them, they're going to grow differently. When you plant your seeds, even if you're planting bunzo, it's going to look like your bunzo.
Right. So this is starting to look like clouds, like bunzo clouds, which was kind of fun.
Well, again, it's transition from the bottom to the top.
Yeah,
and
I
meeting.
love that it's going off the tile, you know.
And you'll see how Maria goes back and just does some little touch-ups or
Little sculpting,
tweaking.
yeah.
And yeah. So it's something you can do with the black ink.
So what you can see that's happening is that the bunzo stripes are like almost like mimicking the background we put in. So it's sort of all works together here.
Nice
Isn't that
resonance.
fun?
Yeah.
Look at that. How cool is that? You can go back in and add some more touches here and there so you can see the subtle changes.
So you'll notice that Maria will often go back to areas that were tangled before and add to it and just look at it and give yourself that same opportunity. And also, she's not filling all the space either. So there's this nice balance of finding balance with the ink, the light, the line, the dark, the pattern, the emptiness. A little bit on the side there. One growing out of it. Yeah, this is great.
It's almost like bijou, right?
Right? There's this fun whimsy to these shapes.
The clouds are like undulating, right?
Mm-hmm. So this is where I left that part in where you look at it, put a line in, pause, feel it, go back.
So I'm adding just to make it look like it's more transition. I'm adding black behind the mucha stems where there's a space that you can do that. So it's see that? So now it's even more of a transition from the mucha to the other things. And it adds a nice anchoring and a weight. It's
nice
giving
contrast.
the mucha a weight. And you see I added one there, a little muquette, just so I could put some in there.
And the interaction of the foreground with the background looks like it was more planned than it actually was. This is just, she did a few of them and then grabbed one and then just went with it.
So now I'm going in with my graphite pencil, and I'm going to add a few shades here and there, but I'm also going to delineate, I don't know if that's the right word, some of the mucha stems which I don't know if I've ever done that before,
Right.
but like going back and forth with coloring in a stem and then leaving another one and coloring it in just so that you can see the difference between one and the other.
And it's totally random, but it also picks up the resonance with those brush strokes in the background.
And I'm not doing every other one, but just here and there. You can see I'm going behind that one that kind of snuck in at the end.
Yeah, I think by not doing every one, it really makes it a cool composition there.
Right. And I'm also putting in the graphite and then using the tortillon right away so I can get a sense of how dark it's going to be compared to the others, so I can make more decisions based on that.
Yeah, Molly does it that way
Yeah.
too. Like sometimes I'll just put in all the graphite and then go back and do all the tortillon. So there's very many different approaches. Right? Yeah, I think there's something really neat about the interplay between that, like the idea of the form in those brush strokes and then how it takes literal form or actual form with the pen strokes. Nice. So you can see that there's oftentimes some graphite still left on the tortillon, so you can do little touch-ups here and there. Playing with the over and the under.
Yeah, with that little squiggle that goes behind. That number 6. We can even make it look like it's growing in on itself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so she's just using the graphite that is, still on the tortillon there. So it really gives you an idea of how adding just a little bit of graphite really changes or conveys a whole different message like that. Yeah, look at that going underneath there.
So I'm going to add a little bit of graphite to the bunzo, but I don't think it needs much. Just a little bit, just to give you a hint of 3-dimension. But again, I'm hesitant to add too much gray darkness. I want to keep it pretty light.
And sort of putting it in where they're coming together, like where the
Right.
where there's like a depression, like where they're folded in on themselves.
Right. To the bottom of a cloud. So I'm just going to add a little bit of white chalk pencil to some of these just to brighten them up.
And when you're done, you almost don't notice it, but it really has an impact, particularly when it goes over the ink. Now you don't use the tortillon with the white that much.
Sometimes, if I just want to brush it off, get a sense of it, I just use my hand. But
Fun.
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
I probably didn't have one close by.
Or it was already
It was already
not
dirty,
white,
yeah.
I love that.
I think this is one of my favorite tiles. I
That
think
is
this is so
beautiful.
fun. Now all's left is you have to just sign it. And there was all of these very cool opportunities here on this tile, and I just decided that I would hang my moniker here. And it's a little bit bigger than I usually use, but so be it.
Well, and this is a really neat idea that you're about to see that came out of how do you fix something if you do hollabah weird.
I know, right?
So you just
I'm
put
going to
those in,
add some more stripes here, make it fit in. It's de rigueur.
right? So you just emphasize it and it disappears.
Right. So we went from mucha to sprinkle to bunzo, all in one tile.
Taking inspiration from those lovely, lovely growth patterns in the back there.
Yes.
So thank you very much for spending some time with us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye now.